All right, I see a couple people jump in right away to the live stream here. If you've got questions right away, get those in. If not, I'm just going to hang out for a second, let people continue to join, and I'll get to some kind of informative information about the software and the market and all that. But again, if you have questions right away, don't be shy. Get those in. We can get rocking right with those now. And once again, if there are no questions coming in, I'll do my best to keep it informative, engaging. If you have questions, get them in right away. If not, we'll get to some stuff momentarily. Again, folks, if you got any questions, get those in for me. I'm going to give it another 30 seconds or so to let people pile in here before I get moving on anything else. All right, no questions coming in, so we'll get rocking and rolling here. For those that don't know, my name is Chris Varley. I'm one of the support and education members here, or team members here at Trade Ideas. We do these live streams daily at 12 p.m. Eastern on all market days. It's an open forum, so I don't come with content pre-done. I try to rely on you folks to ask questions, get you the answers that you are looking for here with the software. Of course, if you don't have questions, we do our best to keep things moving and informative and all of that. So I'll once again invite you all to ask questions here. It's open forum. As I always like to say, I cannot answer the questions that are not asked. So please feel free to ask any questions in here. We do our best to get those answered for you here. All right, with that said, clearly no questions coming in off the bat. We have to think of a direction to go with this. We talk general market talk. We talk about what's going on around the market and the scanners that I run personally. Did want to have a go, no go chart up here on this 5-minute chart, but it's being difficult for some reason here. Let me go ahead and change this symbol linking here. I'm going to link this to green. Go ahead and open a new go, no go scanner. And again, anybody with questions, do not be shy, right? Do not be shy. And get those questions in for me, please. All right, there we go. So that's back to a go, no go. I don't know, it's giving me a hard time with that. There we go. And let's just zoom a little bit. All right. Now we can link this back properly. Voila. All right. So again, folks, open forum here. Do not be shy. Get questions in for me. No questions are coming in, like I said. We'll well, let's go around the market to start the year, right? So we're going to start with the IWM. Usually we start with the SPY, but today I want to start with the IWM because that's what I'm going to do. So big picture here. I'm going to change my chart style. Just bear with me while I change this chart style here. Gives me a better look, I feel. All right. So big picture here, the IWM broke out to new all-time highs back here at the end of November, all right? And it had been years, many years since it had broke out to all-time highs. Go back and look at a weekly chart, we can see that the last new all-time high on the SPY was back in November of 2021. So we went 2022, 2023, and almost all of 2024. So for about 3 years to make another new all-time high. So always remember when people tell you, oh, it's a bubble and everything's so extended, well, just point this chart out to them. While pointing that out to them, though, let's do ourselves a favor and keep in mind that there are individual stocks that are worth more than every single stock in the IWM put together times 2. So we'll keep that in mind also. Keep things relative. But all the same, IWM is going to represent a lot of growth stocks that are under $2 billion because it's small caps, right? And this was a huge inflection point where I got this orange line drawn, right? Couldn't get over this for so long. And then we finally got over it, under it, and over it. And so we would call this resistance right up and through to here. Now, if we think of these as spongy areas and not exact to the price or not exact to the penny, because it's not how support and resistance work, think of the spongy area, this has now become support. The question is, will it become support to build up off of, or will this be a false start breakout? We'll fall back through support, and it will become resistance again. It'll always work that resistance becomes support, support comes resistance, and they will go back and forth till prices comfortably left that level behind to likely never be seen again. That's the IWM there. Some people are telling you, oh my God, the market crash is happening. It could be. We could be seeing the beginning of a crash right now, for all we know. But it has not crashed. It's a pullback. It's not even a correction yet. Let's move on to the diamonds, because this I find fascinating. Bear with me while my charts take a year to load here. No, software crashed on me. Bear with me here, folks. Reload software. It's very unfortunate. We're almost there. Thank you for your patience, everyone. And again, anybody with questions, don't be shy. Please get those questions in for me, right? I much prefer to answer questions than just randomly talk the market with everybody. You can listen to a million people talk the market and all sorts of ways and dissections of this. All right. Anyways, with that said, we'll get back to the diamonds here, which represents your Dow and Jones Industrial Average. And the Dow was actually one of the stronger of the bull leaders here, more consistent. Pullbacks were more shallow over the last couple of years of this bull market that we've been in, right up until here. And then the Dow decided to do something really, really strange. I think you can count on one finger how many times we've ever seen this before, but we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 down days in a row. Now, while this candle here was red, technically it was not a down day because we closed above the prior day's close. So technically that would have been an up day, regardless of the fact that it gapped up and moved down. So I've never personally seen anything like this. Not that I've been doing this for that long, but I've watched markets long enough now in my lifetime to say that I can comfortably say I've never seen the Dow down so many days in a row. But we've stayed around here now in this level. So percentage wise, wasn't the largest move, although it's a sizable move, right? But what we want to notice again is support and resistance here. And we go to spongy areas. We look at this area, we can draw a line and we can say, wow, price seems to have liked this area here where it really fought for a couple of weeks here at this area here. And it got up and came back under, and then it really got up and out of it. A small pullback, filled that gap right here. So we had this big gap. I believe this was the election, the US election, and we filled that gap now, right? Gaps love to be filled, and we're finding some support here. Perhaps the support will falter, perhaps it will not. There is no one that knows ahead of time what that's actually going to do. But we can surmise that if this cannot hold, we're likely to start heading back down to that 400 level on the Dow. There's a million other things that we can put up here for indicators here. We could look at a 50-day, a 200-day. We can use those as SMAs. We use them as EMAs. There's all kinds of stuff that we can do there. I just like to keep things simple with support and resistance, right? Let's not overcomplicate things. Price has memory because people have memory. That's the way this works, right? So it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Carl, for a new user, is there a new channel or just emails for getting started? For a new user, it's really whatever you want to do with the software overall, Carl. If you're just brand new, fresh, starting out, I just suggest exploring the software. In fact, the very first thing I would suggest, if you're really that new, really just getting things kicking here, watch a Getting Started series, which I'm going to post a link to right here. It's 10 roughly 3-minute videos. Like anything in life, if you don't have the basics, you ain't getting the advanced, right? That's how it goes with literally everything. So I would highly recommend giving that 30 minutes set of videos your full attention. You don't have to do that right this second, obviously. Hang here with me during this live session. Some things that will be gone over in those videos is, you're going to, so let's start with this, Carl. Are you on a Windows machine or a Mac? I'm praying you say Windows machine. And again, anybody with questions, don't be shy. Fire the questions in here for me. I'd much rather answer your folks' questions than just randomly talk markets. Once again, there's a gajillion people out there that talk markets. I'm no different. Windows, that is what I want to hear. All right. So if you have not done this already, and forgive me if you have, I just, I don't know where you are in the grand scheme of things. I would like you to head to this page called our download page. I'm going to give you a link for that. And I would love for you to download our beta version, which you're going to see here on the right side. So don't confuse. This is production version here. I would love for you to download this beta version here. It is fairly stable. I mean, out of the thousands of users that are using it, less than a dozen have said they've had any issues. So that's where I would start you. Go ahead and get that downloaded. And once you do that and you launch the software, let me know, and I will stop everything else I'm doing and come back to getting us going here. And we're going to treat this, Carl, if you're the only one asking questions, we're going to treat it like a one-on-one right now. And everybody else can stand by or they can ask questions too. And everybody, please feel free to ask questions. I will get to everybody's questions. I normally do this as an hour-long support session. If you folks are engaging me here and asking questions, I will stay longer than an hour. I have no problem with that whatsoever. So get the questions in here, right? If you want to hear something other than me going over the basics with Carl, get a question in here. I will answer all of Carl's questions, and I will answer all your questions too. That is what I am here for. So, all right. I'm going to talk a little more markets, I guess, right now while I wait for Carl to download and launch. How do I use the trade wave? I'm going to go with you're just asking that as a general question and not as a me personally using the trade wave question. However, if I'm interpreting that wrong, please let me know, and I can give you more personal insight into it. Not that I have a ton, but use some more personal insight. But to use the trade wave, You would need to be on our beta version, which I just went over, how to download that beta version. I shared the link there. Let me know if I need to do that again. And the beta version is going to be, if you go to help and about on our menu bar and you go to version 5.6.104, that would be our beta version. So that's what you need to be on for the trade wave. And once you're on that, you want to right click your chart and make sure that you have browser interface checked. See how browser interface is not checked there? Got to get that checked. When that is checked, you'll find an FX up here in the top left corner. Go ahead and click that. You'll see trade wave. You'll click that and you'll see these blue buys and orangey yellow cells appear on your charts there. And you get the trade wave report down here and you can swap from long, short, short to long. It'll default to go to whatever the last, whatever it was. Now, we do have a trade wave scan as well, 3 of them as a matter of fact. Carl, we're going to swing back to you in just one moment. If you go to new on the menu bar and you go to Market Explorer window, you're going to get a window that looks like this. It's, just that here. You got the user's guide section there. They take you to that if you need. We can right click though, select strategy, and you will find trade wave, and you're going to find daily, weekly, and 5-minute buy signal. Those are the 3 scans we currently offer for the trade wave. Nothing in the Market Explorer can be customized, adjusted, or changed for the most part. You get what you get. That's how it works, because this works on a completely different set of technology than the rest of the software works. So we create these scans on our end and push them out to users. The only thing you can really change in here is you can go to columns. You can change around some of the columns in there. You can make this a tree map view if you prefer instead. Welcome to do that. That's really all you can do. So let me know if that makes sense on the trade wave. If you have other questions about the trade wave, if not, I'm going to kick back to Carl. So Carl, when you first start up the software, you should have seen this happen. Hold on, let me close my windows. You should have seen this dock channel bar of our explosive winners. You should have gotten something that looks just like this, Carl. That's just a startup layout that we put people on. The general reason that we do that, for references, most people want to be day traders and I want to see the fast moving stocks and blah, 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 and all that stuff like that. I blah, 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 because I think the path to most success is just simply trend following. It has nothing to do with finding fast moving explosive winners necessarily. Although those are ones that can certainly pay some bills if you have good trading plan and discipline and all that. I like to keep things a little more simple and slow moving for me personally. But anyways, with all that, this is what you're going to get here. Just a startup layout. Make of it what you will. You get a chart and what we call a single stock window. So this is our single stock window. Most of the windows are going to have a symbol in the corner indicating what they are. So you got that S for single stock window. You got those candlesticks for a chart. You got this flag for a race. You got a T for a top list. You got an M for a multi-strategy window. And a lot of this stuff, it will come in time. So don't get all bent out of shape, because the software is enormous and vast, right? And you and I, or anybody, I could go over stuff for probably 4 or 5 days straight and not cover the entire software. But nobody uses the entire software. Everybody finds what they're looking for in the software and they become proficient in that of it. So if you have specific things that you want to know, let me know. Otherwise, we're just going to go over a lot of general basics of the software in general, where things are found, how to adjust and customize things, and then you can go running off into the wild at some point. Okay, so you didn't get it didn't go to the default layout. That happens once in a while. I wish I could figure out why. All right, so if you go, Carl, on that and you go new and you look for dock channel bar, don't confuse it with the channel bar, and don't confuse it with dock window. Dock channel bar, if you open that up, you're going to get something that looks just like this. Let me get this out of the way. And the explosive winner channel is where you would start. You don't have to start there. We can start at the very basics, and let's go ahead and do that. I'm just going to close this out right away, and we're going to get into some basic stuff. All right. And we're going to build a layout together real fast. And it's going to be a simplistic layout, and you may love it. You may hate it. You may not know how you feel about it. Right. But and again, if you have specific questions, if anybody here listening has specific questions on the software, Ask those questions. Do not be shy. I will get to everybody's questions. I promise. All right. So we're going to go on the menu bar here. And we're going to look under new first. And anytime we want to open a new window, we can find them all here. All right. And I'm also going to give you real fast our user's guide link. And I want you to go ahead and bookmark this. There are a few things that need to be updated in the user's guide, but just a few. All right. So don't sleep on this. Eventually, you'll be wanting to use this because you can find a lot of stuff in there. It's very searchable. It can go back over a lot of the stuff that I'm going to go over here. What's an alert window? What's a top list? What's a single stock window? We're going to go over that now, but it's a lot. And you're going to want to go back over this yourself at your own pace at some point. Also, this session is being recorded and it will be on our YouTube channel under the live section later. I don't know how much later, 4, 5, 6 o'clock tonight, something like that, has to render and compress and then get posted. But it'll be there as well. All right, so we're going to go under new, and this is how I would personally build a layout if I had the knowledge that I have now and I was starting all over again. So first thing I do is I'd open some chart windows. I'm just going to open them, new and chart, and it's going to default and open a certain way. I don't remember what the defaults are for everybody. We're going to cover all this stuff though. All right, we're going to get 3 charts up here. Just like that. 1, 2, 3 new charts. Bang. Lovely. Excellent. All right. Now, most everything in Trade Ideas can be done via the right click. All right. So if we right click, we're going to see all these options in here. And the right click works with the charts and the scans and any other kind of window. Basically, it's just charts and scans with many different types of ways to scan. We're going to get to all that stuff. And we can look and we can see time frame in here. We can adjust time frames. All right. If we right click also, we have our browser interface that can be put on this here, and that'll change a little bit of the bar up here. We can see that there's a clock here for changing time frames also. We can change chart styles up here. We can change indicators here, and anything that's found up here for the most part, not all of it, can also be found here by right clicking. Under properties, we can show pre-market and post-market. We can get rid of those things. We can change some chart colors, all those things like that. Also, if I just want to change the symbol of a chart, I can simply click on the chart and type. And here comes Apple. Bang. These charts are all linked together right now. We can cover symbol linking real fast. We right-click in properties. You can see a check mark is near symbol linking. I can uncheck and check it, meaning that what's done on one is done on any that are linked together. We can link all the charts, and that's blue. We can link by colors. You can see these are all red in the top left corner there like that. All right. So right now, everything's linked to a red or all. And so these are just charts, and we can make them again what we want to make them. So if I wanted to, let's say, have a daily chart and a 15-minute chart and a 5-minute chart. These are just popular time frames, so I'm going with those. And generally, most traders will look right to left in time, right? So we'll start with the smallest time frame at the right, and we'll look left. You'll hear that very often, especially if you join our traders room, free traders room. Barry, who runs it, is unbelievable. I learn a lot of what I know about trading from Barry, just listening. He'll tell you, I don't teach trading, but he does just by listening and talking, taking notes and looking things up. And I have no finance background whatsoever at all in my entire life. I was a career restaurant person, just for reference here. So what can be done with hard work and effort here. So that's charts right there, some of the basics of the charts. Now, well, all right, great chart, but we got to scan, right? That's the entire point of the software. We're going to scan. So we're going to start with what's I would consider our most popular scan, an alert window. All right. And if we open that up here, we went to new up here. Let me do that one more time. Go to new, and we're going to go to alert window. Bang, there's an alert window. It's going to come with some defaults, okay? Again, I forget what those defaults are, but let's discuss what an alert window is first. It's a 2-function window. So you have an alert or an event. An alert or an event would be something like a new high, a new low, a new ask high, a new low bid. All these things that are indicated with just one single icon, that is an alert or an event, okay? Then you have filters too. And those are going to be indicated by a dual set of icons here. There'll be like a purplish and a tealish one, indicating the tealish one here, minimum value, and the purple maximum value. And so in order to get an alert window, both the event and the filters must be met at the same time. So again, an event would be something like a new high, a filter would be something like price. So if we put a price range on there and we used a new high, we would be telling this scan essentially any stock making a new high between these prices, alert me of that. Of course, if we did that, we'd be getting hundreds of alerts a minute probably, right? Or at least on days where the market isn't, rolling over completely. So you want to further narrow things down, and you're going to want to narrow things down based on what you're looking for in the market, right? And so people, we have all kinds of technical indicators that are in here: volume and moving averages and RSI and Bollinger Bands and average true range. If you don't know what any of these things are, some web searching and studying is going to be necessary. And of course, we have some help pages here. You can click on any one of these items in here and click help. And you're going to get a web page that looks like this. And it's going to go over the definition of the filter. Now, if you don't know what certain technical indicators are, may lack context, and you may want to look those things up and do a quick web search on that. Won't get bogged down with those kinds of details. But this is how we build an alert window. So for example, with the defaults that you have, come to the window specific filters. And this is where we would give filters in a value. You're going to see certain defaults there. Go ahead and delete those defaults. So I don't know, you might have a 56 there, and you might have a 4 here, and you might have a 3 there. I don't know, whatever it is. You just go ahead, delete those fields like so, and you'd be starting kind of blank. We're going to build an alert window, very simple alert window together. And we're going to look for stocks making a new high. So I'm going to click on that. I'm going to click add alert. I'll put a check mark here. All right. And then we're going to come back to the search, and we're going to start searching some stuff up here. So let's say we want a price range. I can type price, and anything that has to do with price is returned to me here. And price is right there. I'm going to select that and go add filter. And it's going to bring us to the window specific filters tab. Sorry, I skipped one step. I apologize. When I selected that new high, I pressed add alert, and it brought me to the selected alerts, and I put a check mark there. All right. So that's how we know now we've got the new high alert. We're looking for new highs today. We're going to leave this field completely blank here. All right. And Dylan, if you bear with me, I'm going to get to your question. Just bear with me 1 second while I finish this thought on the alert window. I'm going to circle to you. And again, everybody that's here, I see there's about 76 people here. The system tells me. If you have questions, get those questions in for me. I will stick around past 1 o'clock Eastern and answer questions if they're coming in. So I want to finish this thought with the alert window. Then I'm going to get to you, Dylan. So please just be patient 1 moment with me. So we've got the new high there, right? Then we said price. We want to add price. We want a price range. So we clicked on price. We press add filter. It brings us to the window specific filters. We're going to give it a minimum value of, let's say, $5. We don't want to see stocks under $5. We're going to go a maximum value of $500. We don't see stocks over $500. These are just examples, right? And then we want to have some volume involved in this, right? Because we want to know that we're trading stocks that other people are interested in. And so we go volume, and we could go, well, you see here, whole list of volume. These are alerts up here. These are our filters here. And then you can see the alerts have some kind of filter attached to them, like what we see here, right? And then we also see the values here of the filters, right? So hopefully you're all with me. And so, for example, the relative volume filter is working in a ratio. This volume today is working in shares. This volume today is working in percents, right? And again, we can get definitions on any of these if we click on it and press help, and it'll bring us those help pages like we went over. And so let's say we want to know some shares. We're going to add filter, and we want to say, well, we don't want to see stocks that have traded less than 500,000 shares on the day. And on top of that, we have this show me function with the magnifying glass in the middle here. And you press that, and it'll say, show me stocks where the volume is at least 500,000 shares today. And I can update that in real time right here and say, well, I don't want to see more than 8 million shares today, right? And if I press OK, bang, transfers to that right there. And that's a good way to know what values we add, what they do to that scan. I'm going to take a pause on the alert window configure for just 1 moment here. And let's see, Dylan has, I've been trying to backtest stocks that have been big runners, using stocks like this website. My question is, do you have any advice for few specific filters alerts that traders could keep an eye for fast moving intraday, multi-day Yeah, so, things that I would be looking at here is this. All right, first, let's look at a time when we might have wanted to get into HOLO. All right. Let me get rid of this browser interface. I don't like that, I don't want to have that right now. All right, so let's just say we wanted it on this day here, not this day here. So what day is that? That's the 30th. All right, let me get to the stocks like this page. Oh, try to get stocks like this. All right, and so we're going to enter HOLO. I'm sorry, what day did I say that was? I apologize. The 30th. So let's go to the 30th. Monday, December 30th. Let's scroll back here to the 30th. All right. Thank you, Carl. I appreciate your patience while I just jump ship on one to the other. And we're going to circle back to some other types of scanning and things like that. You're going to find, Carl, a lot of this is going to be rinse and repeat with everything. Once you get the basics of one thing, it really is a domino effect to the next set of things. All right, so HOLO on the 30th, interesting. So we made this huge move in the pre-market here, but you can't backtest pre-market. So we got to look into the regular session here, and it sells off at the beginning of the regular session. We don't see it really take off till kind of the second half of the day here at this 1:30 candle. So let's go, let's break that down a little further into 5-minute time frames. Scroll back again. Bear with me. Let's do this. Let's get rid of pre-market because I don't give a crap about pre-market and it doesn't really serve us any purpose here. Sorry, I talk out loud a lot, or I think out loud a lot. So we said that 1:30 time frame we started to really take off. Yeah, it was really 1:30. It was 1:40 actually. So we got up here and we pulled back and we started to make that real move here. So let's go with the time frame of I forgot this works in military time. 1:40, and let's submit that. Now we've got every single alert and filter that was in here. What I'd be looking for here is some anomalies on some of this. So the relative volume really kicking. So you might want to start with a relative volume minimum of, let's say, 15, right? I don't think you need to worry too much about the minimum amount of shares traded in this case here, but for funsies, maybe throw 2 million or 3 million in there, and I lowball that number compared to the 118 million minimum that you see here, because you don't want to run into a situation where a stock starts to really take off, only that as it's taking off, it hasn't done a ton of shares yet, and then you miss out because it has to get over your share threshold. And this becomes a lot of that give and take where, well, I want this alert, but I don't want that alert. And some of these things will cross over where alerts you don't want are going to meet a lot of the stuff you do want, and there's just no way to really get them to be separated, and because there's no perfect scan, right? Every scan, no matter how much you try to dial it down, is going to show you stuff you don't want to see at some point. And that's why I would lowball the relative volume down like that. I would lowball the minimum amount of shares like that. Next thing I'd be looking at here is possibly I'd start to look at maybe your change over the course of a time frame. So this here defaults to only use top list available filters. And what do I mean by that? Well, our top lists update every 30 seconds from the servers automatically. There's no refresh rate that you need to change or anything like that. And so our 1 minute change and our 1 minute volume filters actually won't show in here unless you go in the back end and put them in yourself, which is a whole other story of custom filters. If you're familiar with that, go ahead and do that. If you're not, we'll have to table that for a moment. But because I have it here, I can do this. So change 1 minute here. We can look here that we had over that 5 minute span of time that we're looking at, it was down over a rolling course of a minute there during that time, 1.22% and up 4.52%. So maybe you want to see stuff that's up a minimum of 0.75%, 1%, something like that. And 1 minute volume, bear with me, 1 minute volume percent here. Well, we were at 458 at the bottom half of this. We were at 3767 at the top half of this. And those that don't understand what this means, this works in a percent where 100 is normal, 200 is 2 times, 300 is 3 times. So this stock at the bottom of what it was doing was already doing 4.5 times what it's normally doing over a 10-day average, over a 1-minute time frame. These are time frames, not bars. Please keep that in mind. We don't do bars. We only do time frames in this regard. And it was doing 37 times what it's normally doing at the peak of this here. So, you know, perhaps you're going to want to throw something like 1,000 in there for a value like that on the 1 minute. And if we go into an alert window here, we go volume, 1 minute, you'll find that in there. 1 minute percent. We could add that filter to an alert window. Like I said, you maybe want to throw 1,000 volume in there because, again, we don't want to be at the top of the threshold, because if we go too much to the top of the threshold on all these things, we're going to get almost no alerts. And so we may get one alert one day. We may not get an alert for another 5 days. We may get one alert one day. We may not get another alert for 6 weeks again if we go too harsh on these thresholds. So go to the mid lower end on these thresholds to start with. And then we can start to look at what this is showing us in history, how we like it, and say, all right, well, I don't like this stock, so how can I get rid of it? What's the values of these things that are showing here on this? And so that's how I would be, that's how I would be building this out like that. So I'd ask myself, those are a couple of filters that I go to right away. And I ask myself, what are some other filters that are important in this? Clearly, we're not going to care what the position in 9-month range is, right? But 1 minute RSI might matter to us since we're looking at faster moving things like that. So that's a direction I would send you in. You might want to see a distance from an SMA. It's maybe one of the intraday ones here. Let's see, what do we got? Distance from the 5 period on a 2-minute chart, right? Distance from a 5 period on a 5-minute chart. You might want to look at these slower moving SMAs like that. Those are the kinds of things that I would be pointing you towards as far as this goes. Don't select too many things at once. Don't select too many filters at once. If you do too many filters at once, again, you run the risk of getting only the one alert. And there may never be in all the history of the stock market another alert that meets exactly these kinds of filters again. You may get very close, but may not be exact. If we get too exact on this, we're going to get no alerts. So Dylan, hopefully that makes sense and it gives you a working and a jumping point as far as building that scan goes. And again, please, for everybody listening to this, there is no such thing as a perfect scan. It doesn't exist. And anybody that tells you it does exist is full of what. We can make scans that give us better percentage chances through our backtesting tool and all that. But what you're never going to get is 100%, and never going to happen. Now, you did ask about the backtesting. So what am I going to do here? I already know in my head some of the stuff you asked for. At that point on that day, we didn't make a new high to get there actually, right? Let's zoom out. I guess we were making a new high. I guess we were making a new high when we started takeoff right there. So we'll go with a new high alert. All right, we're going to go with the new high alert for this one here. So we got a new high. All right. We got this price range here. Let's stick on the lower end of stocks because this is what we're kind of looking for. We'll go $3. We'll go up to $15. We said, I said throw 15 relative volume in there. I said throw 2 million for, you could do this too, 2 million, 2M. Said 1 minute volume. Let's go with let's go 1200 on the 1 minute volume. Let's go with RSI, 1 minute RSI. Let's add that filter. Let's throw that in here. Let's give that a, you want to get it as it's warming up, not as it's all the way gone. You're never going to catch the second it moves. You're always going to be, it's going to be there and you got to decide, do we got legs still, right? Let's go to 65 on that. Let's stick to those things for right now. All right. And I want to show you this on here. We're going to go to symbols list and we're just going to focus on HOLO real fast to know that we got this. HOLO. Okay. And now we are going to anybody with questions, don't be shy. Get them in here. After I wrap this up, I'm going to get back to doing some more basics with Carl. Right click, history, time frame. Let's go back to the 30th. Let's change that time frame. Let's go to 4 p.m. on the ending of the time frame. Again, we're going to go to the 30th. And let's start with 9 a.m. on the 30th here. And we'll go 9:30 because this is only going to work in regular hours. And we're going to press OK. And lo and behold, there we go. Whole bunch of alerts that would have come through this here for HOLO. So we know we would have found this. And let's see what's the earliest we would have found it. So we would have found it on the open. Then we would have found it again at 11:55, right? And a number of times through there. Then we would have found it again at noon. And then we wouldn't have found it again until 1:41. So let's keep something in mind here. Now, we found this early, right? Found it real early here, 11:55, right? Because before that, let's get back to the 30th here. Before that, right, we weren't really going anywhere. We sold off and we kind of towed the line at $4. But then we got this alert here at 11:55, and it jumped up here, but it only jumped up 30 some odd cents. False start, right? Didn't go anymore from that. So we found it early, but it didn't go. There's no way to predict that it would go later again here. And while it does go later again here, this is where we got to be a trader. This is where, yeah, we've got to scan. It showed us an idea. Now we got to be a trader behind the idea, right? But we got it again here later on, and it ended up going, and it ended up really, really going, and it ended up keeping up, and just like that. And so that's where we could start with the basis of like that. Now we're going to come back to the configure, and we're going to come back to symbol list, and we're going to look at all symbols again. We know that we found what we wanted, right? We know it's there. Now we found all that we wanted. We'll press OK, and we'll press OK. And now we could right click and come to backtest. This is where things become a super duper rabbit hole. And I do mean super duper rabbit hole because I go down this rabbit hole an awful lot, folks. You know, you, like everybody else, I have tried to find the closest as I can to a perfect scan, right? And I've spent, I've back tested so much that I've fallen asleep at my keyboard many nights. And that is no exaggeration, especially when I first subscribed to the software back in summer of 2017. You know, several years before I came to work for Trade Ideas. And in that back testing, we have to decide, when do we want to start the back testing of that day, right? Do you want to start right at the market open? Do we want to start later in the day? Because we know that we start this for the HOLO, we could start it now, but we didn't get a alert that really took off and would have made us money until way up here, way up there, right? So we got to consider these things. How many head fakes are happening in the morning, right? I think that we could all agree that if there are 100 stocks gapping up on the day, and, you know, unless it's some day where like the Fed has said, we're giving everybody free money for the rest of their lives, and the stock market, just put your money in it and everybody will make money forever. Unless something like that happens, a lot of things that are gapping up in the morning are going to be head fakes early on. Now they may gap up and then move down, or they may gap up and go and then fade. But, you know, how often do we see something moving up, it opens, and it just keeps moving up the whole day? We had 100 stocks that could possibly do it. Maybe one, maybe two. So we're looking at, you know, low percentages here on it. So let's keep that in mind when we're starting our back test. You can do whatever you want. It's a free market, however you want to do it. It's expensive when we make stakes. It's free other than that. So I'm going to say, let's not start this back test until 10:01 a.m. because there's a lot of head fakes in the first half hour of the market. We're going to run this scan right up until the end of the day here. We got to pick an exit time. There is no two ways around that. For TradeWave, what did you do right after I clicked browser interface? I'm so sorry. I just saw that. What I did was I went to the FX in the top corner here. Bear with me. I'm just going to press that simulate buy real quick so I can do this. So browser interface, click the FX, enable the TradeWave. Bang, TradeWave's on there. That's all you have to do for that. All right. Sorry. Come back to this back test. So I ran the back test so it left off where I want. So we said we're going to start it at 10:01 a.m. We're going to go to 4 o'clock p.m. We got to pick a timed exit. So if you want to hold it the whole day, fine. If you want to hold it till market open, day after tomorrow, or whenever you want across this whole slider, or till the next market close, or whatever market close after that, all the way out. This goes based on the backtesting data, how far it goes out. Our backtesting data only goes approximately 63 days. Depending on how market holidays fall, because we just had several market holidays. It's at 63 days right now. You may see it at 62 days at some point, or 61 days, especially because we're going to have the market close Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and we're going to have a close for President Carter's funeral. So you may see it drop down to 61 days. You could see it go as high as 65, 66 days. All right. There is no way to change or adjust that. That just is what it is. That is all the market data we save on our servers. As a day rolls off, a new day comes on, or I should say as a new day comes on, a new day rolls off. Anyways, so we got to pick what we want. On this case here, I'm going to pick it that we're going to exit after 90 minutes. That's what I'm picking. I have no reason for it other than we're just going to run a back test as an example here. Risk management, stick to dollars and percent. Please do not use filter values. They do not work the way you think they will work. It is some of the most extremely complex things in here. If you do not understand custom filters and how to build custom filters, which we could go over for several hours in itself, please stick to the basic stuff for right now. You cannot have dynamic exits, meaning you can't use a moving average to exit. Brokers won't allow it, so we don't allow it. That's the way this all goes. We're going to stick in percent. So let's just say, let's give this a 25% upside, and let's give it a, I don't know, 3% downside. All right. Advanced, this is where we can say how many backtesting days we're going to do. We'll backtest it out to 63 days. We're going to go to the max. Summary tells us what we've essentially done here. We press buy, and we're going to get this whole spiel going through like that. And we could see percentage-wise, this ain't doing too well. But let's see the profit factor and everything else. Come on, you can do it. Yeah, there we go. All right, so look, something very important to point out here. Notice how only basically 22% of these stocks are winners. There was only 215 trades taken, but look at the profit factor. That's not terrible. Look at the average winner versus average loser. That's what you really want to see. And this doesn't look to be too terrible of a scan, actually. Now, the one thing that I'll note is you got two big days that really get us here. What we want to do is reduce those losing days here, right? And we want to get them smaller. And how do we do that? Well, we do that through the optimization process here. So we come to optimization, all right? And the first thing we do is start with price, and we can see how price affects the scan. We could also look at time of day and see how time of day affects the scan. We can change the intervals on this. We got a $1 interval. We could go 0.5 on the interval. So change it to 0.5, which is 50 cents, press enter, and now we can see how it breaks down with that on the table there. This is at 30-minute intervals. I go 5-minute intervals, and we can see how that breaks down here, and it breaks it down by time of day and the winners, losers, percent, profit factor, all those things like that. You're not sucked in to do any one of these. You could leave any one of those you want, and you could come to other filters. And we can look at every single filter that we offer here, and every one of those we can come and optimize on this, right? So I could come in here and I could tell it, say, all right, well, what if we did it on, I don't know. Let's find something here. Let's find something interesting to do it. Let's find it on gap percent, right? And right now it's going with a 50% gap, which is ridiculous. Let's go with a 5%. All right. And we can see here how gap percent works. And so we can see stocks that gap down 15% or more didn't do well until we gapped all the way down to 90%. Right. And we can see how many total trades. And so we could adjust that. And so I could say, you know what? Let's set this gap value. Let's set the let's edit it manually here. So I'm going to edit gap percentage in strategy, and we're going to come to that here, and we're going to look for gap. Let's go to gap percentage. Let's add that filter, and we're going to say the maximum amount that we could gap down is minus 15. And if I click here on the show me stocks where, I'm sorry, we don't want that maximum. We want that minimum. We want that minimum. I apologize. See, this is why I use the show me function. So show me stocks where the open was above the previous close. It was same as the previous close, or was no more below than 15% than the previous close. So we added that as a filter for right now on the scan. We'll press OK. All right. OK. And we're going to run this back test again right now. We're going to back test this strategy, and we're going to see how this back test compares to the prior back test. And that really screwed us up. How did I screw that up? I did something wrong. Forgive me. Bear with me, folks. minimum. What did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? Help me out. Oh, at least 15% below. I didn't put this right. See, I didn't press the OK on here. Minus 15. Press OK. Press OK. There we go. I did it right, but I didn't finish what I was doing. Now let's run that back test. My apologies, folks. All right, now we're going to compare. Let's come back to summary tab. And so now look, we went from the original one, a profit factor of 1.42 to a profit factor of 1.44. We had 215 trades. Now we have 211 trades. Win percentage actually went down slightly, but our average winners went up slightly. Average losers stay the same. Strategy return went up slightly. Projected annual return went up a good amount here, right? And there's some other stuff to notice here. We're doing this based on taking 500 shares per trade. We're assuming $1.75 in and $1.75 out for each trade on commissions. And then I put this in here for a little wiggle also as a different commission way. That's why you see these three lines here. And so that's what we look like that. If we compare the daily here, I don't think we'll see much difference on the daily here. The daily, I think, is one of the more important things than the equity curve, because the equity curve could look great if we have just one or two great days, right? Other than that, it could suck. And we could still, quote, be making money, but we rely on 1 day's worth of data to make that money. And so that's essentially backtesting. And it becomes the rabbit hole because you have all of these filters to go through and see what they do to a scan, right? But you want to keep things relative to what you're doing. So, for example, when we're looking at fast-moving stocks and things like that, we're probably not going to care about PEG ratio. We're not going to care about debt to capital ratio. We're not going to care about, I'm sorry, I'm trying to think of things that nobody would give a hoot about when it comes to, fast-moving stuff. We don't care about quarterly revenue growth, right? We don't care about quarterly earnings growth, things like that. So keep things that you're going to optimize based on that. With that, Dylan, I unleash you into the world of backtesting. The last thing I can tell you is do not over-optimize. What does over-optimizing mean? All of a sudden, you've got like 30 filters coming across here, all with screwed down values that are really tight like that, and you just get adding a filter and adding a filter and adding a filter and adding a filter and adding a filter. And all of a sudden, it back tests really great, equity curve looks good, all that stuff like that. And then you go to use it, and you're like, wow, this thing a week later isn't doing really good. So it's that fine line between optimizing and over-optimizing, or what we'd call curve fitting, right? Because we've got the equity curve here, and we're fitting it to the prior data. And so there's a fine line between that, like everything in life is balance, right? And so that's how that would all work out like that. If you have further questions, anybody has further questions on what I just went over, by all means, get those in here. And I will circle back to them, but I want to circle back to Carl now because he asked, when will AI assist driven, not sure what to call it, trading go live? How do I enter simulated trading so I can practice? Awesome questions. Love it, Carl. All right. So AI, we're going to go new. We're going to go premium AI strategy trades window here. And that is Holly. All right. This is our AI. What is Holly? Holly is a extremely sophisticated set of alert windows. There's about 60 of them. They backtest and optimize every single night. And the ones that backtest and optimize the best every day come to the table to, quote, play an alert in the market. And so it's usually, I'll say, in between 4 and 10 scan types out of the 60 base strategies that will come and, quote, play for the day. And anytime a stock meets any of those strategies in real time, we get an alert, boom, and that alert will come into here. Just make sure you have no filters on this. Sometimes there's a default that puts them on that'll only show long or short or only show profitable or anything like that. So just go ahead and make sure there's nothing checked on either one of those. You're showing everything. And your default of this may look different than mine. Again, to find that new premium AI strategy trades window, that's what we want. It'll give you something that looks like this. If we right click here, you'll see columns. There are a number of columns in here. The right side is going to be the master list of columns that we could put. The left side is the selected or displayed side. And we move things back and forth, right to left to right, by clicking and moving the arrows to move that over. So I've got mine set up how I want to see it. And then, we can set it up as a theoretical portfolio here that it's simulating itself essentially. Right now, I have mine set up to say, what if I risk $100 per trade based on Holly stop loss? Because Holly puts a stop loss out there. And so if I click on this here, bear with me. I have a lot of stuff running, so it's just kind of giving me a slow move. We'd see Holly put a stop down here at 28.68 like that here. Now, if you're on the browser indicators, your chart's going to look a little different than the non-browser. So again, let me click on this here. Sorry, chart's taking a second to catch up. I don't know why this is giving me a hard time. Let's do this. Switch symbols. This is being really silly right now because the chart size. There we go. I had to get that chart size out a little bit. All right. Let's move this way. Let's go this way. Chart size was tripping me up. I apologize. All right, so we can see here that, with the browser interface, that it gives me the entry price and the stop price. Without the browser interface, it gives a shaded area, so you can pick and choose what you want out of that. If you want the shaded area, the non-shaded area, essentially. That's how that goes here. And then, excuse me. So I was talking about a hypothetical portfolio, lost my train of thought. So if we go to tools, options, and this is why I said that we could do this thing for months. We could do this thing for months and months and months, or for weeks, and not cover everything. We go to tools, options, AI trade size. We can see here that I had this based on Holly stop loss. I'm risking $100. And so that's where you see this max profit come in here. And if I were, I can change that to be, let's say I wanted shares, I'm taking 1 share, I'm taking 100 shares, I'm taking 1,000 shares. Or I could say I want to take $500 worth of stock, $5,000 worth of stock, or $100 worth of stock, right? Discard changes, yes. And I could go in here and I can come into the columns, right click columns, and let's see, profits should be one of these, profit. I don't have it selected, but now I'm going to select it here, move it to the selected columns, press OK. And we can see my profit here on each one of these. We can see a max profit here, meaning if I bought it at the entry price and where it was in its best position after the entry alert. So we could see something like this, for example. Well, it ran way up, right? We got the entry here, ran up, and it's faded since, right? So we're only at a 76 profit right now, but we were all the way up at 350. Something similar here. We got the signal here, right? Kind of flopped around, moved itself up, moved itself back down. So we're sitting here like that. This here, it's sitting at minus $100 because it got stopped out, right? Not the greatest of alerts, but there it is nonetheless. So got the alert here, kind of ticked up. Not awesome. These things happen. High relative volume. Didn't really trade much other than being high relative volume. RNC, just trying to give different examples here. So, this was a short call, made the short call here. Really only ticked into the money by, didn't really tick into the money at all, as a matter of fact. Reversed itself and went right off and got stopped out right there. So that's as far as the Holly goes. I see Pepe chimed in about being the money machine. You're talking about the money machine. It's on our web dashboard here. I'd rather not gone there, but let's go there. So if you're on our homepage here and go to My Trade Ideas, this Market Scope 360, it's going to be the, quote, second gen AI, but it's not artificial intelligence. It's algorithmic or intelligence, excuse me. What it's doing is it's taking any one of these scans and it's trying to focus you on the top 3 here in it. So, right now we're on today's biggest gainers percent-wise and over the last 30 minutes. And go ahead and click here. Let's see, whoops, drop down menu. Sorry, it's being difficult because I'm in the delayed mode, but we'd see a drop down menu here. We change that to, biggest from the prior close, last hour, 30 minutes, 15 minutes, gap percentage, so on and so forth. There are other scans that are in here, momentum waves, for example. Same idea, money machine, quote unquote, second gen AI is trying to keep us in those top 3, and it's a rotation like that. The real juice behind this will be when we get an automated version of this here, because it's kind of hard to manually follow along with this. Best attempt if you like to make it, but that's where that would live like that. And then I'm going to circle back to the software, and you talked about practicing trading in the simulator. So our simulator lives in what we call our Brokerage Plus interface. If we go to new, we go to Brokerage Plus. Whoops, I forgot I got one open. All right. I'm going to bring my Brokerage Plus over here. I'm doing some simulated trading in it right now. This is not live. I'm not up $1,100 today in live trading. I wish I was. I am not. This is simulated, some stuff that I've got going on here. When Brokerage Plus is open, you're going to look for brokers in the top left corner. You'll see what we offer. You're going to want to go to Trade Ideas Paper Trading. That's our simulator, and you'll connect that right there. Then here you're going to want to select the paper trader because we connect to a broker. Then we got to connect to an account. You go ahead and select that account, and then it's fairly straightforward from there. Anything you click on symbol-wise will load here. So just watch, for example, see how I have CRNC because I clicked on it here. You see CRNC here. I click on NITO. Now it's NITO here, right? And then we can select buy or sell. Right now I have mine selected to default to buy. Yours will start off neutral, so this will be gray. Select if you're on the buy side or sell side. You'd set your quantity, right? And then you go ahead. Are you a market order or a limit order? And when you're ready to send that order, bang, you press send, off your order goes, and voila. And you'll see it in here. Again, like everything else, right click, columns. What are we displaying for columns? Your master list on the right, select it on the left. It's going to take time to go through these things, get a rhythm, figure out what you want. What you want today will not be what you want a week from now, which will not be what you want from a month from now, which will not be what you want from 2 months from now. That's, you know, the growth of the software over time like that. It was Holly. All right, thank God. It's not that I don't want people to look at the money machine, but it's tough, and especially for anybody newer with the software, and you want to get the basics down first, and then if you're someone that's newer to trading in general, you really got to get the basics down of all that before you're running into like fast momentum moving stocks and things like that. Because if you just run right after stuff like that without really knowing anything, you're gonna do what I did, and that's lose a bunch of money. And just how it was for me, you know, I thought I was just going to step on with no trading experience or software experience or anything like that. I thought I was going to trade the fast movers and blah, 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 blah. Long story short, it didn't work out well for me for quite a while. Just, you know, you got to learn to crawl before we walk. We got to walk before we run. And like every other profession, trading is no different. You know, you don't just jump in there and do it. You know, there's a lot. No. We'll never forget anything Pepe says. If you, Carl, and for everybody that's here, anytime in the live sessions, Pepe knows more about this software than I think almost anybody else does, but not just software. Pepe he just knows tech. He just knows tech in general, you know, website stuff and whatever else. He is he's a Trade Idea subscriber, but he's probably one of the greatest assets we have as a subscriber out there. But Pepe doesn't just hang here in the live stream with us. He's in the traders room with Barry all the time too. And, you know, Pepe, he knows trading, he knows the software, and he's a general all around really good guy. So, and he'll be modest about all this. And he'll say, no, I'm not that. He is. He's everything that I'm saying he is and more. And Barry would tell you the same thing. Barry is no nonsense. So trust me, listen to Pepe. Nope, I don't give you enough credit. With that said, that's a short and skinny there. Now, we've gone over a bunch of stuff. I want to go over something with the user's guide here now. So I shared the user's guide link before. Let me share it one more time. Here's the user's guide. Copy. Let's paste that in here. So there's the user's guide. Like anything else, when you don't have context of something, it becomes hard to grasp the information it's trying to give you. And that's why, you know, we started off, let's go down here, let's scroll down on the user's guide. And we started off, we talked about charts and alert windows, right? And so now we have some context between alert windows and chart windows here. We got a little context on that, right? We talked a little bit about some indicators. We get some more context on some indicators in there, right? Excuse me. Talked about different alert types and filter types. The same thing here, right? There's T windows, top list. This is another way to scan. Multi-windows. Multi-windows take alert windows and stick them all in one window together for space savers, all right? Single stock windows, all right? It's another type of window with data in it. Stock races, another type of scanning. You're not going to learn all this stuff in a day. You're not going to learn all this stuff in a week. And some people never use stock races. Some people only use stock races. Some people never use topless windows. Some people only use topless windows. Some people use a blend of all these windows, right? You won't know what you are until you start to get down and break down what they do and all those things like that. So we covered top alert windows. I just want to go over topless windows real fast now, all right? So top list, similar to an alert window, but what do we have here? We have no alert or event. We only have filters. That's it, all right? And these auto refresh and update with every stock that meets the filters every 30 seconds. Actually, each stock gets its own kind of its own time frame on alerting. So the overall window refresh is overall, each individual stock refresh is different than the overall window. It's a little bit complex behind it, but just think about a 30-second refresh essentially. It's faster and not faster at the same time. But without boring everybody with a lot of technical details, all this is going to do is every stock that meets this scan is going to refresh, is going to be on there. And if it no longer meets the scan, it just gets dropped off. Alert windows have sound to them. Topless do not have sound to them. So it's give and take with these certain kinds of things, but you don't need the alert event. You don't need to be making a new high, for example, or a new low, for example, to get onto this window. So that's the give. The take is that we don't get alerts with this. And that's just the way it goes with these kinds of things. And so that's why some people will have an alert window and then they'll have a top list that's almost exactly the same as the alert window, just minus the alert event on it to compare some of the things that are coming through and when they come through and so on and so forth. If your top list says, please wait, it's because you lost connection. So what you want to do here is come to, because it's one connection at a time. And so certain things on our web pages can get you disconnected from the software. So if you look up here on your bar, you probably see like red up here. So go ahead and either double click the green ball or the red ball, because you'll have a red ball there, or you can go to account, reset connection, and then you'll see it go blue across and then green across again, and you'll come back. You'll have to close that topless configure too, because when you have a configure window open, you can't click anything else inside the software actually. Excuse me. I'm talking so much, my throat's closing up on me. And so that's how that, did you mention in the beginning about TradeWave can do scans? I did mention that, but it's limited. So let me go over that real fast here again. If you go to New, Market Explorer, you get this window here. We'll right click and we'll go to Select Strategy and you'll see TradeWave here. And we have a daily, a weekly, and a 5-minute. There is there's no customizations on this. You can't build your own TradeWave scans. I would love to tell you you could. This runs on a completely different set of technology than alert windows and top lists do. So we build these here on our end and push them out to all users. We try to do something that can include most traders. There'll probably be outliers that are unhappy with it. It is what it is. I apologize. I don't like telling people no. I'd like to tell everybody everything they want to hear, but that's unfortunately not the position that I'm in. I can only share what the functions are. So, but that's the TradeWave scans that we offer. There's 3 of them. They're just for the buy signals. But you can take a look at any chart on any time frame and see what it's given you for past buy and sell signals like that. Again, folks, we're past my normal 1 o'clock end time. I'm going to stick around for another couple minutes because a few more things I want to go over before I wrap up. But if there are any questions at all, don't be shy. Get the questions in here. I will stick around longer and answer any questions that come in about the software. I will not leave anybody hanging when it comes to this. So I implore you, I beg you, please get those questions into me. Carl, you've gotten linked back in again. I appreciate you letting me know that. So again, topless windows, just simply filters. Every stock that meets that filter is going to be on there. Now, one thing I want to show you with this, and let me find one of my own top lists here. All right, so I've got this top list here. I call it my evening scan, all right? And if we double click any of these columns, we can sort what we call a display sort and how the order of the stocks that meet the scan are on here, right? And so right now I've got this change from closed dollars, and I have it the smallest dollars on top. Now I have it the biggest dollars on top. Yeah, so smallest dollars on top. Oh, this went and when I double clicked it again, it went to the close percent. If I click it one more time, now it's the biggest dollars on top. That's just a display, all right? There may be a time where you have a top list that, let's say 500 stocks meet the top list, right? But how many stocks can we display at once? We call it our set record count. So right now this is set that the top 100 stocks that meet this scan will come on here, and anything over that will get dropped off the scan. Well, what is the top 100? That's what we call a server sort. We right click and come into the configure. Got all these tabs across the configure of every scan. You're going to play around with those and you're going to learn all about them. In the sorts here, we call it our server sort. So right now, the top 100 stocks that are up the most from the prior day's close on a percent basis would be what gets onto the scan. And anything that's on the lower end of that after the top 100 would not make the scan. And what I tell everybody is this: please, please, please be realistic about what you're putting on your scans, right? There is no way a human being can look at 100 stocks that's trying to day trade fast moving stocks and look at all 100 of those stocks in a short time frame of 1, 2, 3 minutes and make any kind of decisions on those 100 stocks. It's not possible. Be reasonable, okay? Now, I understand that people may not want to be making fast-moving decisions, things like that, and they want 100 stocks on there. That's totally reasonable, right? The more stocks you allow on a top list and the more top lists you have, it can begin to slow down your system. So just be reasonable, folks. There are limitations to our software. If you push the envelope, you are going to find those limitations. We're a retail software. We are not up against high-frequency trading hedge funds that are out there, building servers next to the NYSE servers and things like that. If that's what you're trying to compete against, I've got news for you. They are going to take all your money. That's how that works. Be realistic. There are, we probably have, we've got several thousand users at any given time. Are all of them successful? Obviously not. There are people rotating in and out because trading is a hard business, but we've got a lot of people that are successful traders with this software, all right? There's a reason behind it, right? They put the hard work in. They had the discipline. They're reasonable about things. So, and I know trying to find what's reasonable, it's a subjective topic, so I'm going to leave it hanging there at that. But just remember, we're retail software. That's all I ask people to remember. So we're retail software. We do as much as we can for as many people as we can. Carl? Darn, you're gone. All right. Well, and on the off chance you're listening before you left, Carl, we have a traders room. Please, give us an email. Come to the traders room. I'm going to throw that link in here. Here's the traders room. Anybody can join. It's free for anybody, anytime. You don't even need a software subscription to it. We're confident that if you hang in that traders room long enough, you see what it's doing, and you're seeing the traders that are in there. We're confident you're going to want a subscription eventually. That's what okay, still here showing. All right. Very good. So we do this live stream. We do from noon Eastern to 1 o'clock Eastern, typically on all market days. But we run a live traders room where it's not as open forum and educational in this regard as what I've been doing right now. But Barry knows the software in and out for the most part. He doesn't do a ton of back testing. So does he know how the back tester works? And can he show you a few things about it? Yeah. He doesn't go down. He doesn't do the rabbit hole back testing like someone like me does. He's talking more stocks and things like that. He shares his scans, where his ideas are coming from. Barry will never tell you what to buy, sell, hold, or anything like that. He does not give financial advice. And if anybody comes into that traders room pumping stocks or anything like that, they're going to be politely asked to stop, and then he'll kick them out if they don't stop. He's the consummate professional, Barry. But, he can help you. If you were in there and you're like, Barry, I'm trying to find a way to scan for stocks that are doing X, Y, Z. If we could build a scan for it, Barry's going to know how to build it. And he's going to help you build that scan. And if he doesn't know something, he's going to tell you, listen, I can get you this far on it, but shoot an email over here to info@trade-ideas.com. That's where you'll find me answering tons of emails. Info@trade-ideas.com. And he's got, and me or Steve or Andy or someone like that, we're going to get you some answers that way too. Some things are better off shown here, right? So we really encourage folks to come and join us here at this noon session. We know that not everybody can make it, so we also do the best we can on answering emails in text form with screenshots and all those things like that too. So we've gone over a ton. If I could leave you with anything, as far as the basics of the software, look under these tabs here for different things. You'll find them. A lot of stuff you're going to want to live with under the new, building out new windows. If you right-click anything, you're going to get a lot of options. Look through what those options are. Configure on any scan. You're going to have the tabs across here. A lot of stuff to go over. There's help documents. We can always open some help documents if we don't understand something. Web searches never hurt. We have on our homepage a ChatGPT. You're logged into you'll see if you're logged in up here, right? And you can use the ChatGPT here as well. Being logged in as a user will get you more stuff out of the ChatGPT than being on a free account or on no account whatsoever. If you ever see you get logged out of the software, it's just because you were logged in somewhere on the website. You could always do this too. If I come in here and view my profile, I'm going to come here, look up here on the gear and just slip yourself to the delayed unless you need to be using this page for any reason. Because if you go to any of the help pages and you're on live, it'll kick you out of software and all you're doing is going to help pages. You don't need it to be live data here for the help pages. So I recommend people set it to the delayed so you're not getting kicked out of software. And should you ever need to, swap it, by all means, swap it. So again, in here on the market scope page, you can swap that live and like that. Those are the big things. Those are the real big things. Right-click magic and the menu bar, and the rest starts to fall into place. Like I said, once you got the basics of the software down, the next hard part is trading, right? What is trading? It's risk management. You want to break down trading to its most simplest element. I would be comfortable saying 99% of traders, even closer to 100%, 99.9% of traders, they're trend followers, trying to find a trend on a time frame, whether it's a 1 minute time frame or a 1 month time frame, and they're trying to follow that trend and get in as early as possible on a trend and get out as early as possible when a trend they believe is ending. There's never a way to know ahead of time either one of those things, but becoming a trader and a risk manager, we decide, I believe the trend has started and I believe it has more in it. And I'm going to get into it now based on whatever the indicators that I'm deciding are. And then I believe the trend is ending based on these indicators. And I'm going to close my trade based on that now. And that's that's the short and skinny of this. Now, if anybody has any other questions about the software whatsoever, I will stick around and answer those. So I'm going to kind of give it in my head, going once, going twice auctioneers moment here for you to get those questions in. If you don't have questions, I understand. No worries, no pressure. Myself, Steve, or Andy will be back here Monday doing this. So, we'll do it all over again. So I'm going to once again ask if there's any questions to come in, please do not be shy. Get those questions in for me. You don't have questions, it's all good. Covered a lot of stuff today. That's the way it goes. Going to run with what you got for now. So Carl's all set for the moment. Excellent, excellent. Oh, Carl, you know what? Is there something else I want to share with you? Yeah, I want to share with you the Trade Waves video. For newer people with the software and trading in general, it's our Trade Wave. Go ahead and, just bookmark all these different things that I've shared with you here. That info at trade-ideas.com. Get us some emails. That Trade Wave is that buy and sell that I was showing on the charts before. So is it an end-all, be-all, follow this and you're going to be rich? No, but it's trend following. And it could really help someone that's trying to, really get involved in this here. And, look, some of these are going to be better than others. Look, you get a buy here and a sell here, and that sell really wasn't much any higher than that buy, right? Not great, right? We got a buy here and a sell here, and we saw, a trend, and it started. And we didn't need to get the beginning of the trend. If we got this part of the trend to this part of the trend, right? We get this, we left that out. We didn't get this end part here, right? Not bad. not bad, right? We can make a living doing that. Right? So that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to, leverage data the best that we can for the best decisions that we can as trend followers. At least that's what I'm trying to do. That's what I'm trying to get everybody on board with. So, all right, folks. My end here will be, if you are not in the traders room with Barry, you're doing yourself a disservice, an extreme disservice. All right. Barry is located there. That's traders room. The traders room will open sometime around 7 o'clock in the morning. Barry doesn't get on the mic and start sharing a screen until about 9 o'clock Eastern. There are a lot of traders in there that want to talk about, different news events that are going on and upgrades and downgrades and just all kinds of trader talk goes in there. Nobody's telling anybody what to buy or sell ever. None of that happens in there. Barry sees to it. Plus, there's a number of folks like Pepe that are in the traders room that, they help police it. And they're really stand-up folks in there. A number of people, you'll see who's in there, and you'll be able to pick off the real good people in there. Barry gets on the mic at 9 o'clock Eastern market days. Usually goes to in between 2:30 and 3 o'clock every day. He shares a screen. He talks about great stuff. Barry's style of trading isn't for everybody, and he'll tell you that, right? But if you break down what Barry's doing with the risk management and trend following, you'll see that a lot of what he does can be done on longer time frames, actually. So I thank you all again. German, appreciate it. I'm glad that you found this informational. I'm glad you found it helpful. One last thing, again, I got the room there for you, info@trade-ideas.com. You can get to us anytime there. We're not much around on the weekends. We're not much around in the evenings. Good people get good service. So, I'll be real upfront with folks. Any people that email in and are nasty to us, I'll only answer them during business hours. People that are polite with us, I'll answer them anytime I've got a free moment. I could be sitting, watching TV, whatever I'm watching. If I see an email come in from someone that's been polite with me, I'll get them an answer when I'm not actually working. And people that are jerks, I will make you wait. I'm sorry, but that's the way life works. And you will only be answered during my working hours. So, always keep that in mind. I am a customer service representative here, and I want to make sure that everybody succeeds with this and, treat us with the respect that you would treat your mother with, for example, or maybe, be more respectful with your mother than me, of course, right? But I think you all get what I'm saying. So again, I thank you all very kindly. I appreciate the interactions. Great session here, as usual. Phenomenal. Want you all to have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, and we will see you next week. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.